Sunsets Ponies, everyone. So we have recently gotten a lot of information about the new upcoming generation of My Little Pony today. Hasbro had its official investor online thing that they presented kind of instead of Toy Fair. And so we got a bunch of images and a little animation, which I thought we could talk about. Now, I do want to start this conversation with every time there is a changeover in generations, emotions run high sometimes. Some people love it, some people hate it, some people are on the fence. I want my comment section to be civil. So feel free to say, I don't like this or it's not my cup of tea. But if I see any hateful comments, I will delete them. So that being said, also just to give y'all a little bit of context for those who may be new to my channel, I am a long-time My Little Pony collector, and by long time I mean that I was the demographic for G1. I even have a picture here of myself and my little sister with our very first My Little Ponies. So I have been collecting for most of my life. I took a little break when I was a teen, but then I got right back up with it not too long after I got past that, too cool phase. So I've seen several generations at this point. I will say that in regards to how I love My Little Pony, as many people who grew up with My Little Pony in G1 through G3, it's really more all about the toys for me. Hasbro, in my opinion, Hasbro is a toy company. Therefore, the toys are always going to be an important part. After all, why would they bother making animation if it wasn't selling toys? So I enjoy the animations. I watched G4, but I would say I'm more of a My Little Pony brand fan and toy collector. And the animation is secondary and for me personally. So that's the angle that I am coming at this from. All that to say, I want to go ahead and discuss the other stuff first, and then we'll get to the toys. Sadly, there were not a whole lot of toy pictures, actually, but we'll look at that here in a second. So first image that we have seen, well, there was some bedding leaked earlier in the week, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But first image we have here is of Sunny Star Scout. And so I'm just going to pop this up here. And while I read the little information that Hasbro released about the new upcoming line. This says, E1 has announced the highly anticipated all-new computer-animated feature film based on the My Little Pony franchise will premiere on Netflix later this fall. Fans can also look forward to the release of a new My Little Pony G5 series in 2022. Pause here to say I have Netflix, whereas I do not have cable, so this will actually make this more accessible to me personally, rather than having to look up this various shows on YouTube like I had to during G4. So I actually kind of like that it's going to be on Netflix. So that's good for me personally. So it continues, after a decade of heartwarming friendships, daring adventures, and endless laughs, the beloved pony world of Equestria is expanding to introduce a new generation of ponies to a new generation of fans. With even more humor, heart, and adventure, audiences will be swept away to a contemporary and immersive pony universe brought to life like we've never seen it before. Animated by Hasbro's Boulder Studio in Dublin, the new feature film is the first time the ponies will be seen in theatrical quality CG animation. The movie is directed by Rob Cullen and Jose Yuca, with Mark Fatabeen as co-director. And there's another sentence about producers with even more names that I cannot pronounce. In the new movie, the pony world of Equestria has lost its magic. Friendship and harmony have been replaced by paranoia and mistrust, and ponies now live separated by species. Sunny, a feisty and idealistic young Earth pony, is convinced there's still hope for this divided world, but her slightly misguided and often hilarious efforts to change hearts and minds have led to her being branded a misfit. When Sunny befriends a lost unicorn named Izzy, who wanders innocently into the Earth pony town of Maritime Bay, the town has had enough. Izzy and Sunny must embark on an epic adventure that will include a daring jewel heist, outrageous conspiracy theories, elaborate musical numbers, and the world's cutest flying Pomeranian. Their adventures will take them to faraway lands and force them to challenge the status quo by facing their fears and making new friends out of old enemies. The world Sunny has dreamed of her entire life could finally become a reality as Sunny and her newfound friends fight to prove that even little ponies can make a big difference. The adventures of Sunny Starscout and her friends will continue with an all-new computer animated series coming to Netflix in 2022. My Little Pony Entertainment releases will be accompanied with toys informed by the updated animation style, in addition to a robust portfolio of licensed products across fashion, home, publishing, and lifestyle categories. Okay, so it sounds like the show, and from this picture that we have here, is going to look very modern. It reminds me a lot of My Little Pony Tales, just in how modern and urban it looks, and which is not really my personal cup of tea. I really want the high fantasy. I personally was very much a horse girl growing up, so I like my ponies to be frolicking in fields, and otherwise acting like horses, 90% of the time. Horses that happen to be able to talk and have colorful hair. But, some of this aspect may not be to my liking, but I will say that this image is pretty cute. For the most part, it definitely looks better than some other images that we'll look at. And so we have another. And by the way, of course, you can see that there's a lot of G4 references in here. It definitely seems that G4 will be referenced quite a bit in this series. So we also have another image, and this image is Sunny Sun Scout is the Star Scout is the orange pony, orange Earth pony, and beside her is Izzy, and it has been revealed in other places that Izzy's name is I forgot it already. Something to start with Moon Glow or something like that. Moonbow. Izzy Moonbow. And then these are two random guards, it looks like. I can make some guesses as to what this is. Both of these ponies look like they have wings, so it looks like these two ponies are visiting some kind of Pegasus area where there's Pegasus guards. Again, the 3D animation actually looks pretty decent. I know for years I've always not wanted ponies to be done in 3D because for years 3D animation of cartoon characters has been very iffy. They have made a lot of improvements, and this doesn't look too bad. And there is another animation that we'll look at here in a second. I will say that some things I like and some things I don't like. I like the horse-like markings in terms of socks and blazes, that kind of thing. Those are cute. They have the hooves with the feathering. on the hooves. A lot of people seem to like that. I personally really like ponies, My Little Pony with the traditional smooth legs. Not saying I don't dislike the traditional boy Big Brother ponies. Those are actually pretty cute. But for the most part, I like just the smooth legs. But the hooves is not a deal breaker or anything for me. It's not the thing that I dislike the most. And Izzy's horn is not the same color as her body. That is something I is not a fan of, because to me it looks like her horn is not a part of her body. If you could actually see where her horn attaches to her head, it might look a little different. Because I don't have a problem with like realistic looking unicorns have different color horns, but in this case, it makes me feel like that this is not even a unicorn, that this is a earth pony who's cosplaying as a unicorn, because of the shape of the heads and the hairstyles. It looks very human, so it looks like a human who's wearing a wig with an attached horn. That's just my personal opinion. And some of the later images too, the 2D images, I have kind of more on that vein. But let's go ahead and look at the animation. So this animation does not have sound, but it looks like it's just kind of a fun little screen test. So you can see that there is another pony here. So we have a boy pony. It does seem like there's going to be one or two boy ponies who will be part of the main cast. It's hard to tell. I kind of feel like this boy pony is probably a sibling or relative to Sunny, but just because their body colors are so close. I will also, by the way, say that I find it fascinating that Hasbro has decided to make their main character orange, which is one of the least popular colors. So that's just very interesting. Maybe they thought that the main character sells themselves, regardless of what color they are. So if they have the main character be orange, the kids will buy her regardless, and then that means that all of the other side characters can be other colors. But yet they made this boy pony is kind of this weird orange yellow color. So anyway, the animation, the movement is really cute. It's pretty well animated. So I'm pretty pleased with this. The heads are still a little odd, which I'll talk about more in some of these other images. But I don't really have too many complaints. I'm not absolutely in love with the designs, but I don't hate them either. And I can admit that they're kind of cute. But let's go ahead and look at the bedding. So the bedding was leaked a few days ago. This is a merchandise licensing, situation, and in this case we have 2D images, and I have to say that these were quite concerning when we all first saw them. Maybe it was on purpose. Maybe they released these so that when we would see the 3D, we'd go, "Oh, good, it doesn't look as bad as this." I am just not really a fan of the very humanized faces. It looks like a human head on a horse's body, in my personal opinion. They have the eyebrows, they have the teeth. They have their very tiny muzzles. It's just kind of odd, in my opinion. And this, again, if you look at Izzy here, the unicorn, this in particular is the one image that made me think of like a pony cosplaying, because it just really looks like a human head of hair with an attached horn. You can also see another character here, and I'm unclear about exactly which character this is, but you can see that she has She had the gradient on the front legs, which is cute. I kind of like that. But then she has wings that are a different color from her body. And then similar to the unicorn horn, that's not really my favorite thing because it kind of looks like they're tacked on, not like they're a part of her body. So very interesting. But the images, the 2D images that are on the what looks like the other side of the comforter or the sheets are better in my opinion, and I think part of that is that they're facing 3/4 rather than straight on. It to be honest, the faces don't look too different from G4 in my opinion when they're like this. But when they're facing forward, it just gets way too human. And so it's a little odd. Okay, so let's move on. Oh, actually, I want to say something else. In the previous, some of the previous images, we had ponies who, Sunny in one of the earlier images does not have a symbol / cutie mark. And then the boy pony in the animation doesn't have one either. But then in the animation, it looks like Sunny does have a cutie mark. And in the bedding, for sure, you can see that that Izzy has a cutie mark and that Sunny has one also. And it also appears that the Pegasus has one. You just can't really see it because of the way they're all positioned. So, you know, I can make guesses since the write-up said that Equestria had lost its magic, maybe that affected the acquisition of cutie marks, and then by the end of the movie, all of the main characters will have received their cutie marks. That makes most sense, and that's why on the merchandise they would have their cutie marks, but why on some of the images they don't have them. Okay, so let's get to the toys. So we have some images here of the toys, and one of the funny things I see on this image is where it says, let me open this up, where it says double down on dolls. What? That's so weird. I don't know what in the heck Hasbro means by that. But we have some images here of some toys. We've really only got 3 different toys here. We have 2 different pictures of Sunny with brushable hair, and then 2 pictures of Izzy and the male pony, and they look like they have molded hair and also have articulation. So I am not really a super fan of the toys right at the moment, just because of this head. The head just really gets it for me. I know why they did it. It's just like the Pony Laugh toys. Basically, Hasbro has decided that they want to make the heads tilt forward, backwards, sideways, and so they've made the neck skinny so that they can just pop the head on top and it moves like it's on a ball joint, which I understand in terms of play, but in terms of aesthetics of making it look like a horse, it makes it look like a weird creature that has a very weird unpony-like head on a weird unpony-like neck. Maybe I'll, whenever the toys come out, I will buy a few, and then we'll see it. We'll discuss it again, and see if they have brushable hair. You can maybe arrange it so it frames the face. That's one of the things about designing the toys to match the animation, is that in the animation the hair can be drawn to frame the face. And yet it's not going to do the same thing with the toys. To be real honest, in my opinion, the toys should be designed first, and then the animation created around it. That will be a very unpopular opinion for those who are primarily fans of the animation. But this is the head and neck thing is just really not my favorite. The molded manes can frame the face, which is why some of the Pony Life stuff with the molded manes looked cuter than the Pony Life with the hair, because it's just, unless you style it, it's just not going to frame the face the same way the animation does. Speaking of which, I am kind of worried that they're going to put a human head type of hair on the mane rather than running it down the back of the neck. I mean, it can't even run it down the neck. It can only run it down the back of the head. But I'm afraid they're going to put them in rows horizontally rather than vertically, the way an actual horse's mane would look. But it's hard to tell from this image. Other than that, you can clearly see that her bang, the forehead line of hair is clearly done horizontally rather than vertically like a real horse. But again, here you can see Sunny has a symbol. I'll be curious to see if they release any toys without Kitty marks, since it does appear that she does not have one at some point in the film. So that'll be interesting. Though, I'm also kind of concerned, and maybe I shouldn't put this out there, but the image that shows Sunny without a symbol or a Kitty mark shows her left flank, whereas this image is on her right. And I'm actually a little concerned that Hasbro may decide to make the animation match the toys in the exact wrong way that everybody wants them to, by having the animation only have a symbol on one side rather than on both sides. That may just be me worrying, but at the same time, I just want to say it in case it happens, so I can say that I called it. But hopefully not, because that really would limit, some things, because if they did that, then they would always have to have it on the same side on the animation, and then everybody would call not show accurate whenever they wanted to have the toy have the symbol on the opposite side facing the opposite direction. But anyway, I'm starting to ramble now. So these are all of the images we have so far. I have some reservations about certain things. We'll have to wait and see the toys in hand. I really wish there had been some more images of some more of the toys. Normally when there's toy fair, you get to see a number of toys, a number of characters, and here we pretty much only have 3 characters for actual images of toys. I sure would love to see an actual picture of them in person, so we could see exactly how big they are. Anyway, those are my thoughts. We'll have to see in the fall. I'm sure that eventually more images will come out as more companies start putting merchandise up. We'll get to see more images, but this is what we have right now, and it's a very interesting start to see where things are going. Last thing I will say that I am not a fan of are the names. The last names, the surnames, are fine. If they had just done the surnames as the actual names, that would have been fine. Sunny is okay as a pony name. Izzy is a very human name, so overall, my thoughts come down to I like my ponies to be very pony and magical, and the more human they get, the less attracted I am. I never liked tails either. I liked early G1, but My Little Pony tails was one of my least favorite because there was no magic and they were just pretty much human stand-ins. So these at least appear to be walking on all fours for the most part, so I guess that's something. And not that I want to say that I dislike everything about these. The animation really is pretty cute. I think I like the animation just fine. And hopefully we'll have a wider range of toys to look at. They'll probably have different toys at different price points. So maybe some of the larger, like fashion style type items will look better than some of the cheaper items. But we'll see. So again, let me know what you think. What do you like? What do you dislike? But just remember to keep it friendly. I will delete any comments that are bashing or hateful in any way. But there we go. Whole new generation of My Little Pony to look forward to. So we'll see you again later. Bye, everybody.